is happening? Good morning, beloveds. Foster is, I don't know. Oh, okay. We've got a short one today, which is probably a good thing. As I was getting ready to come in here and do this, they broke into the news and announced that Harry Belafonte died today. He was 96. That's a voice. So, all right. Let's see. We're almost finished with our first month in here. This book, it's been fun. It's been work, but it's been fun. So it is April 25th. Our title is Demonstration. Our author is Myrtle Fillmore. I don't think I've ever read anything by Myrtle Fillmore. Published in Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity, in 1977. So, if you don't know who Myrtle Fillmore is, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were the founders of Unity. So, as I said, title is Demonstration. People often ask how long it will take to make a desired demonstration. The time element does not enter into spiritual healing. There is no time in spirit, and all answer to prayer is instantaneous. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. However, time enters into people's mortal concept of things. Therefore, the time required to bring about the healing of the outer depends on one's ability to realize truth and to bring it into manifestation through faith and the spoken word. What? Okay. So, there is a book called, what is that R word? The word just popped right out of my head. I'll remember it in a minute. It's the R word when they, remission, I think. I believe it's called Remissions. And it is a book, and maybe it's called Spontaneous Remissions, but it is a book about people who one day had cancer and the next day they didn't. And what Myrtle Fillmore is talking about is kind of that. And Amit Goswami also talks about it. He talks about it in The Quantum Doctor. So if you look at The Quantum Doctor, what Goswami says is that we have 5 bodies. So the ultimate body is the bliss body. The bliss body is God's idea of us. The bliss body is perfect. There is nothing that has ever been wrong with the bliss body, and there is nothing that will ever be wrong with the bliss body. It's not possible. Because again, it's God's idea of us. So it's perfect. It's whole, it's complete, and it's that place where we talk about, that Reverend Jesse talks about, where we go when we treat, where nothing has ever been wrong. So that's what the bliss body is. And then he says that there are 3 bodies in between the bliss body and what he calls it the gross body, but what he means is the material body. There's a mental body, emotional body, and a supramental body. And I'm not sure that I could explain the supramental body, so I'm not going to. But I think the supramental body was kind of the blueprints. So the supramental is between the bliss body and the emotional body. And so when healing needs to happen, it has to go through those other 3 bodies to get from the bliss body to the material body. And so that's what Myrtle Fillmore's talking about. Okay? How quickly can you get through those layers? Because that is between you and spirit. When we treat for other people, all we can do is know the truth about them. They still have to accept it. So you can be the absolute best treater in the entire world, but the other person still has to believe it. So if you are treating for another person and they are not seeing results, that's not on you. Okay? If you are doing your job and knowing the absolute truth about that person and they are not seeing demonstrations, it's because they haven't accepted it. So that's the caveat in treating for other people. But When you are treating for yourself, that's where those three bodies come in. God is not bound by time and space. Absolutely is not bound by time and space. God exists everywhere at full power at every way. That's just the nature of what we are talking about. Because there's nothing but God, right? When we enter into the material realm, we are bound by time and space temporarily for as long as we exist in this material plane. Harry Belafonte existed for 96 years. So good on him. And the world will miss him. So, but when we go to the bliss body and we look at the bliss body and we go, this is the perfect idea of me. Nothing has ever been wrong with this body. And then we come back and then we look at the material body and we've got to bridge that distance. Okay. So we've got to take whatever it is that we are asking from the bliss body and filter it down through the supramental, the emotional, and the mental body. And that's where the work comes in. And that's where time comes in. How much are we willing to believe? How much are we willing to believe? Now, yes, we can talk about all the material things that we should do. But there are people who drink and smoke and live to 100. So, you know what? They have a different belief about themselves. I believe that Emma said, if you are, if what Jesse likes to call the hardball metaphysics, that it shouldn't matter what you eat or drink, your body should function. Okay. Most of us, we are still bound by what Ernest called the race consciousness, which is the idea of if I eat this, this is what happens. Okay. And that's okay. That's okay. That's why it is up to us to do what we believe. So if we believe that eating fruits and vegetables and is good for us, then it will be good for us. Because the race consciousness says so. And if the race consciousness says this is bad, well, you know what? Unless we can practice hardball metaphysics and just completely ignore that, then, which is why I don't beat myself up for the little sugar that is in my diet. It's like, you know what? A little bit's not going to hurt me. I do believe in the all things in moderation. I am not a hardball metaphysician. I do believe in, taking material responsibility for my material vehicle. But let's go back to Mildred, excuse me. Myrtle. I don't know where I got Mildred from. However, time enters into people's mortal concept of things. Therefore, the time required to bring about the healing in the outer depends on one's ability to realize truth and bring it into manifestation through faith and the spoken word. How strong is your faith? That's what she's asking you. How strongly do you believe? How much do you believe in the outcome? And how much feeling can you wrap around that? And that's where time is. That's where time is. Race consciousness says healing should take time. Most of us are willing to allow race consciousness to dictate to a point how long healing should take. And then you meet those people, like I said, spontaneous remissions, who can just overnight. And then I'm going to remind you, because like I said, Harry Belafonte died today. Sometimes that's what healing looks like. This body isn't meant to last forever. And there is going to be a time when it is going to come off. And when it does, that is a healing as well. It just looks a little different than we were expecting. So, Mildred, Myrtle. Myrtle Fillmore. There is no time in God. Your healing is instantaneous in God, because your problem, whatever it is that you consider your problem, never existed in God. All right? It did exist. It did or does exist in the material plane. All right? We're not going to deny that reality. But what we are going to say is it never existed in God. And so you have the potential, the possibility, the ability to go back to that idea of you. The question is, are you willing to put in the work in faith and belief? And that's a hard question. That is a hard question. And I get it. And so that's one of those things where you want to inspire yourself, and you go read books like Spontaneous Remission, and you go and watch TED Talks, and you go and listen to spiritual people, and you do what you need to ratchet up your belief and your thoughts and your feelings until you can go to God's idea of you and accept it as the truth of your being. Well, yeah, demonstrations are always that thing. That's why we start with parking spaces. Honestly, that's why we start with parking spaces. Okay, we get you believing the little things, and then let you get to the bigger things, like, perfect idea of you, that God is all there is. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it? I think the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is exactly that. To realize that the answer to prayer is instantaneous. And decide, how long are we willing to wait? The answer to prayer is instantaneous. How long are we going to wait? Because it's up to us to accept it. That's your mission today. And that's a heck of a mission. Because I'm asking you to look at your faith. I'm asking you to look at your belief. And I'm asking you to look at the perfect idea of you. I'm asking you to look at God's idea of you. How long are you willing to wait? That's the question. All right, beloveds. I am going to move on into the process of my day. But before I do that, I'm going to remind you to do the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. I'm actually doing one of the most loving, kind, and compassionate things for myself that I could possibly do right now. I am scritching the cat. That, especially when they purr. In my world, they're the two sounds that are the absolute best sounds in the entire world. Absolutely. The laugh of a baby, the genuine laugh of a baby, and the purr of a cat. There's nothing better. The purr. And did you know that cats actually purr at a frequency that heals bone? I am not kidding. So when you've got a cat who lays on a part of you and purrs, maybe you need a little healing. And they, the little loving little sharp muffins that they are, know that. And so they do that. The purr of a cat. So, okay, it's very calming to pet and scritch a cat. I love it, especially when they're purring. So I am going to spiritual practice, love, kindness, compassion. Practice on yourself for a variety of reasons. One, you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. That actually is the most important reason to do it. 2, you are your own best test subject. 3, I'm encouraging you to create a habit. The more you practice, the more likely that when things happen, because they do in the material realm, they just do. We are in relationship and we have to deal with that race consciousness that I was talking about. when we practice love, kindness, and compassion on ourselves, we are more likely to respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately, no matter what happens. No matter what happens. So, that's why I encourage you to practice every day. It is a spiritual practice. What could be more spiritual than practicing love, kindness, and compassion? Because love is the greatest power there is. So practice on yourself. Create a well-worn, well-traveled, I can do it blindfolded path to the source of your own being, to the source of infinite love, infinite kindness, infinite compassion. There is no time and space in God. That means that all the love, kindness, and compassion you could ever need already exists. So go get to know that bank manager, the source of your own being. Practice on yourself. And it looks like petting a cat, and it looks like taking a deep breath before you speak, and it looks like taking a nap, and it looks like taking a walk, and it looks like eating dessert first. I say that, and I realize that because I would say it jokingly, it's not a joke. One, I do mean it. Two, it's a metaphor to remind you your life is a special occasion. Don't save the good stuff. You know? Don't save the good stuff. Okay. Before I get all maudlin, I'm going to move on into a couple other of the self-care, because absolutely the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, kind for yourself, and compassionate for yourself is about self-care. I don't even pretend that it is anything other than self-care. I do also remind you it's about making room for joy. So, which is a quality of God, and you deserve joy no matter what is going on. So please make room for joy and take care of yourself. But I do encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. Your brain works better when it is hydrated. So please drink plenty of water. I do encourage you to get early in your day bright light. The clouds were a little breaky today, so there was a little sun, not much, but a little, and early in your day, bright light, about 10 minutes, and you can use artificial light if you get up before the sun, helps to reset a natural hormone pattern called a circadian rhythm. When you support that hormone balance, you'll have more energy during the day and you'll sleep better at night. So please, early in your day, bright light. Like I said, artificial works. And I'm talking 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And you can get that while you're doing other things. For me, it's like when I go for a walk or a bike ride in the morning. So, all right. And then, as always, I'm going to quote Ernest Holmes. We are doing 365 women, but I'm going to quote Ernest Holmes. And I'm going to remind you to open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Because heaven is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. And when we work on it, and you know that spiritual practice of doing something loving, kind, and compassionate for yourself, that's one way to get there, to that heavenly mindset. When we are loving, kind, and compassionate with ourselves and others, that's heaven. That is absolutely heaven. And so it's about us being willing to look around, look at the world around us, and see heaven around us, to see God looking back at us, to look in our own eyes and see God looking back at us. It's a big ask. I'm not pretending it's not. But imagine how much your life could change if you're willing to see God everywhere. If you are willing to look around at the world and say it's all sacred. I mean, when you start thinking about that, you move through the world differently. You treat things differently. You treat people differently. When you are willing to look around at every living thing and go, that is a beloved child of God, you'll move through the world differently. Try it. We've done such a good job of separating this world into the sacred and profane that we've forgotten that it's all God, which means it's all sacred. All right, beloveds. And I'm going to remind you, if we're going to look at heaven as a mindset and a state of mind, that means that heaven isn't a place, but it can be any place, which is the point of the practice. Point of the practice. because heaven can become any place. We want to create a world that works for everybody. Well, the two ways we do that is recognizing that we come pre-installed with the Christ consciousness and make choices based on that, which the password is love, and to recognize that it's all God. That it's all God. I feel like I was going to say something else and then it just went away. So, all right. I'm going to take a deep breath and remind you what Emma says. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. No matter what is going on, there is good available. If for no other reason than you bring it with you. You know how I said, look in your own eyes and see God looking back at you? It means that no matter what situation you walk into, you bring the good with you. All right? Remember that. Remember that. Okay, so look for the good and praise it, like Emma says. Whew. All right. I think I'm at the place where I remind you we are Creative Life, Creative Life Spark, Creative Life Spiritual Center on the social medias that we are on. So please feel free to look those up. And I am the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So please feel free to look those up. We try and get some good content up. And there was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember what it is. So I'm going to remind you that if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the constant contact. And then any information that you need, those hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll take you right to the information or to the person who can help you get it. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a catch the sun while you can day, a dance in the rain day, a snuggle with the cat day, if you have one, a look up baby laughs day, a enjoy the cat purr day, or if you have a dog, cuddle with your fur baby. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because some days it is, just simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a godling. That is the truth of your being. So get to know you. All right, beloveds. Take care of yourself. Always. Reverend David should be on Facebook Live around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. on Facebook Live. You can always look for these talks. They're archived on the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel. That's where I keep them. I also cross-post them on the Running Rev Ryan Facebook page. So you got a couple of places to look for them. And know that you're loved. And I will see you next time.